Jesse made it through. Kelly and Jesse made it through the night. Drove all night to get here. We're here 30 minutes before we have to be. We got to get the car unloaded. We still got some work to do, but man, what a wild drive! What an absolute wild drive! If you saw the last two videos of what it took to get here, it makes us all the more rewarding to actually have made it and to be ready to go. So we have to do a little bit to the car before tech, but we want to get teched out and make sure everything's good to go on the car. So we're gonna get set up. Well, here's our first problem of the day. We can't get the door of the trailer open because it looks like it's synced. Push on it, Kelly. Push on it.
Well, that wasn't like that before.
No.
Too much weight.
Yeah, too much weight on the, okay, well.
Revision 2 coming soon.
That's a problem.
Okay.
This trailer's gonna need some repairs. We gotta burn through some tires and get them out of here.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get the car out then. Since this was our first time, of course, we started loading the car here and everybody else knew what was going on. So right when we get the car unloaded and start getting ready for tech, everybody rolls up the hill and we're kind of standing there like, where are we supposed to go? What are we supposed to do? So I guess we'll go ahead and pack up and then drive up the hill and follow everybody else. Hopefully we can figure out where they went. We put the front wheels on. It looks like that might be a little bit of an issue. Might have to get some narrower wheels, which I did bring. They just don't have great tires on them. And then we just got to put some more stickers on it, put some fasteners in the side skirts and the bumpers, and we're good to go. All right, we made it up on the mountain, Kentucky.
I'll catch you.
So
We're over here though.
there is a line of pit spaces for miles, and even behind us for miles. The tech inspection is all the way up there. Looks like we gotta grab our wristbands. The guys are making their way around. So let's figure this out.
Go up there, check it out, survey it. I understand some of you guys may have done the other one and you're like, yo, I can do this. Nah. Go up there, check it out. This way we can enjoy today. Keep in mind that we want to keep our cars looking good so we can go enjoy tonight. And then tomorrow, you know, send it responsibly. But please take the time to go look at that turn and see what you're dealing with.
All right, we got the car all ready. Got my arm restraints on. We got a 1.5 mile drive up to the start line. let's go get some laps. This was literally our first lap out. It was supposed to be a sight lap, but you know, you have to make that decision. Am I going to go hard on my first lap, or am I just going to check it out? And so I'm kind of in between. I wanted to drift, but I also didn't want to crash. So you can kind of tell by my driving that I was timid, but I'm learning the track, and I didn't want to miss out, you know, on a potentially fun lap. Now, I can't say I don't know this car very well, because I've done a lot of laps in this car in the past. Obviously, I don't own it, but I built it and I drove it a lot. But when it comes to learning this course, if you look for tire marks, you can see right there, it looks like someone locked up the fronts, and I knew I was getting close to where we start drifting. And here you see some more tire marks, so I decided, let's go for it. Let's drift these first couple corners. They're kind of wide open, you know, always looking ahead, right? You can see a corner tighten up if you're always looking ahead. This was a long straight, and I'm thinking, how am I going to link this? It really opens up here, and there's a lot of straights. So I was analyzing, okay, what's going on here? And you see tire marks, tire marks, tire marks. You know, either people are drifting there or slowing down a lot. And you see this tight left-hander. This is where a lot of people started drifting, which I really think left about half the track undrifted, and it was kind of disappointing. And so I was really looking for drivers that were drifting those first three corners, so you know, we could have some really, really good tandems going fast. And it's a lot easier to link it if you start drifting before that first corner. This is the corner they referred to as Dead Man's Corner. You can see there's no guardrail, and there was some rocks off to the left there. And so both uphill and downhill, that was a pretty dangerous corner. And these last couple, you know, you can either drift them or not, and the same goes for going downhill. But it's pretty wild. A lot of people left that on the table, which is why I say about half the track was undrifted if people didn't link all those corners together. Here's an in-car shot that I overlaid for you guys, so you can see just how uncomfortable I was with this first downhill session. So after that downhill, I learned, okay, there's a few spots for sure that I'm going to have to hit third gear, which blows my mind, right? Going downhill, upshifting third gear, just gaining speed, that's wild, but it had to be done. So it took me a while to notice or realize what it was, but there's definitely rumble strips in the middle on those double painted lines, which wasn't a problem for me. It's definitely unnerving drifting over those lines or passing over them like that. But some guys actually had suspension failures, some broken components due to you know, going sideways over those rumble strips. This is also about the time I realized that if I started the run uphill at about 80 degrees Celsius, by the time I got to the bottom, I was at 105. So I couldn't just flip around and get back in this line. A lot of guys would literally just U-turn right here, get back in line and do another lap. I had to go all the way back down to our trailer, let the car cool down, before I was able to come back up and get in line again. So I missed probably every other session because of that, which was kind of frustrating, but it was definitely a limitation of what the car was capable of doing. Woo! That was my first lap. One up, one down. Kind of did a little bit soft uphill, drifted a couple corners, and then downhill like went like 80%. First impressions, there's a couple spots that are really long and it'd be hard to link. I shifted third in this and the clutch ran away, so I need to add more pressure in the rear. This car needs to be able to float and slide out a lot more than it does. I'll probably stiffen it up too. But man, it's fun, intense. There's some really fun like corners, like you dig in and kind of really fun. And there's some that you have to stretch a little bit. This isn't the perfect car for that, if I had a car with a quick change, I could dial in the gearing, so I'd be perfect, you know. But definitely super fun. I'm hoping to get some of these sections figured out and get them linked pretty quick. But car got really hot, so we're gonna check that out, make sure the fan's working how it should, make sure we got good airflow. You see the steering wheel's not perfectly straight and it gets some death wobble. So I wanna mess with the front alignment, try and get that dialed a little bit, and then just make this car as good as possible for it. So after shifting to third gear on the last lap and realizing that the clutch was slipping a little bit, I knew we needed to dial out a little bit of grip. The easiest way is obviously to add some air pressure. So on this lap, I think we dialed up to about 40 PSI. So I absolutely love doing footwork and handwork. I love shifting, upshifting, downshifting, handbrake, foot brake, all that kind of stuff. Clutch kicking, clutch slipping. Well, good clutch slipping, not bad clutch slipping. But basically, there was a lot of that in this lap, and I was learning still at this point where I needed to be upshifting, where I needed to be downshifting, and the next couple laps, I think I do a lot better than I did on this one. Whenever you're leading the train, you have a responsibility to slow down and let everybody stack up behind you. I didn't want to be heading down the mountain with all these guys still trying to turn around. So you kind of slow up, let everybody stack up behind you till you get to the start line, and then boom, let's go. So as I told you guys, my overheating problem kind of got me out of sync with all the other sessions going up the mountain. So I ended up usually at the front of the line waiting for people to come back down. So most of my laps ended up being me leading the train, which I don't mind. Obviously it's fun to tandem and to chase, but on a challenging course like this, sometimes it's fun to be out front and really find the limits of the track. Another thing is I got a lot of clips of me leading the train from the media that ended up on Instagram, which was kind of cool. Once again, as the lead driver, you have a responsibility to get out of the way. If there's a problem, get out of the way, let people get up front and keep drifting. Stay out of the way, don't cause problems for other people. almost slid off the track a couple times. I didn't realize how dead they were. Those tires lasted 2 sessions, barely. All right, we just got done with lunch. We're lining up for the second part of the day, I guess. This will be my third, I call it a lap, up and back. So I've been 4 passes, right? Up, back would be 2 passes. I call that 1 session, 1 lap. So this is gonna be my 3rd lap. I'm feeling pretty good. The second one I got it dialed, so these are the same tires with higher pressure, but they only did last me 2 sessions before, so I think it'll be similar. I wanna shred. I'm leading the train here. I wanna get a little more comfortable and then get in the middle of a train and get some doors. Nobody's really following close on the laps that I did, so Jeremy Lowe's behind me. I just went and talked to him. He said this is kind of his feeler lap, so I don't think he's gonna be following me that close. So I might be on my own again on this one. Once again, my fancy microphones ruined my audio for this clip, so let me fill you on what I was talking about here. I got together with Matt Kaufman and I was like, hey man, I really want to do a tandem. I saw you're driving hard. I know you're a good driver and I want to follow someone who's doing a good job, so let's do switcheroo. I'll do the lead uphill and you follow me downhill, and we'll go hard as we can and have some really good laps. And he's like, yeah dude, I'm down, let's do it. Awesome. And as soon as we leave the line, if you look off to the left when I'm leaving in this next clip, you'll see that he pulls off to the left. I later found out that his clutch was completely smoked and they ended up staying up all night to fix it. So I missed out on that lap, didn't get to drive with him the rest of the weekend, but he was willing, just didn't work out. Super bummed, but I had fun anyways. Let's go. At this point, I've led all 3 of my laps uphill. I didn't want to miss out on a good tandem opportunity, so I saw Kyle in line, and I was like, nope, we're going for it. I flipped around, cut in line, got lined up with Kyle. He's been driving awesome all day, and I knew that if I got lined up with him, we would have some great tandems.
Woo! Come on, Temp. Cool it down.
So this car runs an EMU black, and we programmed it so that it has a rev limiter at 110 degrees Celsius engine temperature. That way you can't run it way too hard when it's already overheating, and that actually comes into play here towards the end of this run. Normally I wouldn't start a run at 100 degrees Celsius, but of course I didn't want to miss out on this tandem opportunity. And this isn't just any engine, this is a 2JZ engine. It can handle a lot of heat and a lot of abuse, and this car did not skip a beat all weekend.
Woo!
I started having too much fun, so I actually forgot to record the uphill part of this run. So this is just the downhill, but it was a pretty good run. I was getting really comfortable at this point. You'll see, if you compare this one to my first in-car run of the day, you'll see how much smoother my handwork is and my footwork, and how much more comfortable I am behind the wheel. So if you heard the car cutting out in that lap, you're not the only one. I also noticed it when I was driving it. I was trying to push through it, but I thought it was some sort of fuel issue. So when we got back to the bottom, we were able to actually figure out, well, Kelly figured it out. It was the vacuum line to the wastegate had melted, so the car was overboosting, and it was hitting a limiter in the ECU for overboost. Alright guys, that's a wrap on the day. This car did great today. Awesome. So fun to drive. There was a lot of mediocre driving today. There's a lot of fancy cars, lots of cool cars. You can't get out of second gear. I did tandem with some good drivers. Everyone knows who the good drivers are, and then the other guys, people probably know that too. So it was unfortunate. I really hope tomorrow we have a lot better driving, a high level, or at least I'm gonna try and find those people and drive with them. It's really hard to like pick people out and line up with them, but I talked to Edgar about it. He's like, I don't care, line up with whoever you want. So I'm gonna try and be more specific about hanging back in line or finding people who want to drive. I don't care. I'll go to anybody like, hey, you want to drive? Oh no, my car's broken. Oh, I don't know, blah 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 blah. All these excuses in the world, you know. That's usually what happens. I'm starting to lose passion for drifting because so many people are either afraid to tandem, or even if they're really good drivers, they just don't want to drive. I don't understand what it is, but that's what I'm hoping for tomorrow. So I'm picking out the people that I already know that will drive and drive good, because I'm going full throttle third gear, like way beyond what's safe. And for me, that's what's fun. And a lot of these guys are just playing it way too safe, and it's not fun to drive with. And even a couple guys I pulled in front of them, like, let's go, follow me, and they just weren't even close, didn't even try. They just hung back and like did the solo run by themselves. I was hoping driving all the way across the country there would be a lot of good drivers, and I haven't seen that yet. So I feel like I need to clarify a little bit that rant I made at the end of day one. I realized that by posting this and making this video and not excluding that part of the video, I might put myself on the bad list. But I feel like for me, it's more important to be genuine and authentic. And when I recorded that, obviously that was a real emotion. And that was actually how I felt about the day. But now, you know, hindsight's 2020, looking back, I want to clarify a couple things. So first of all, obviously that's the first day, and you got a lot of guys who are not pushing the limit necessarily. I'm a guy that pushes the limit, right? And you'll see on the second video, I pushed the limit a little bit too far. And that's just who I am. And I know there's other guys out there like me, and I like to drive with people who also push the limit. But not everybody's that way. Some people don't want to risk their car, their safety, whatever it is. And I understand that. And you can't fault someone for driving that way. Second, after reviewing a bunch of footage and watching some of the social media, and there was a bunch of guys driving well, right? And we didn't have grandstands. There's no track. You can't like take a break and go watch people drive. You can't see anything on the track until after the event and watching the media. So all I was seeing was the people that I happened to get stacked up with in different runs. And a lot of them were the same people over and over and over, because, you know, you get in this cycle where some guys go up the mountain, come back down, and then you go up in the mountain, come back down, and you always seem to be with the same guys in that cycle. So a lot of the good driving that I saw afterwards were people that I never ever was paired up with or saw on track. And so on the second day, I actually tried to find some of those guys and pair up with them, and so things went a little bit better the second day. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. I'm not trying to put myself above anybody else. I'm not trying to slander anybody, nothing like that. I'm not naming names. I'm not calling out anyone specifically. It's not about that, right? It's just generally how I felt about the day with a slew of different drivers on track, and just the vibe that I had on that first day was not great. One of the differences I noticed between going to the East Coast and where I'm from on the West Coast drifting is, on the West Coast, you go to an event, you don't know anybody, you show up, you line up with anybody, you drive, it's cool. Everything's great, you guys, you know, you make friends. On the East Coast, there's groups, there's cliques, right? If you're not in the clique, you're not driving with them. They won't go outside their clique to drive with anybody else. So I felt like an outsider, and I definitely was an outsider, and by the end of the weekend, still an outsider, right? Didn't matter my driving skill, didn't matter my background, didn't matter any of that stuff. I'm not just saying that about the Kentucky event. I actually went to New Jersey and drove the Pro Bro down afterwards, and exact same vibe. Some of the same people, some different people, same vibe. So I'm gonna say West Coast takes the cake when it comes to good driving with dudes that you've never been around before. Okay, so with that negative stuff out of the way, I want to talk about the positive. I'm not saying that I didn't have a good time. That's not at all what I'm saying, right? The track was absolutely amazing. This road was amazing. The fact that Drift Appalachia was able to secure a public street to drive on was absolutely like next level. So huge shout out to Drift Appalachia for, you know, putting this together, for making it happen, and obviously for allowing me and these other guys to come out and do it. Amazing opportunity. And this is, you know, for me, it's one of the highlights of my career, and I was just super happy to be a part of it. and I can't wait for the next one. I also need to add huge shout out to Kelly Williams for letting me borrow his car. The car did great, and it was such a blast to drive, and thank you, Kelly. I wouldn't have been able to do this without your help.